Hi everyone, Mike here, and I've got something really cool lined up for you today. Apple has been known for its tight grip on what gets through the gates of the App Store, but recently it seems they've decided to loosen up a bit, particularly when it comes to emulator applications. This shift has led to a flood of new apps making their way into the App Store, some of which have the potential to transform your Apple devices into retro gaming machines. While many of these apps are designed for iPhones and iPads, some are so tiny and niche that they're tailor-made for the Apple Watch. Yes, you heard that right. Playing Zelda or Pokemon on your Apple Watch is now a reality. It's the kind of nerdy dream you didn't even know you had until you find yourself waiting for the bus and decide to whip out a little Game Boy action on your wrist. Sure, it might make the person sitting next to you glance sideways, but who cares when you're catching a Pikachu right on your Apple Watch? It might not be the most comfortable or practical way to game, but there's something undeniably cool about the concept. Let's go into the details and walk you through the process of getting your favorite retro games running on your Apple Watch, step by step. Trust me, it's easier than you think, and in just a few minutes you could be reliving your childhood one tiny screen tap at a time. If you're as excited as we are about today's topic, show some love by liking and subscribing to Retro Pocket for more amazing content. Step 1. Download ArcEmu on your iPhone. First things first, to get your Apple Watch ready for some serious retro gaming, you'll need to start by downloading an app called ArcEmu by Arcadia. Now, before you try to do this directly on your Apple Watch, let me save you some frustration. It's much easier to handle this setup on your iPhone. Besides, the initial setup requires your iPhone anyway, so it's best to start there. ArcEmu isn't a free app, so you'll need to shell out $1.99 or £1.99 if you're across the pond. It's a small price to pay for the nostalgia of playing your favorite Game Boy games on your wrist. Once you've purchased and installed ArcEmu on your iPhone, the app should automatically be available on your Apple Watch, or you might find it already sitting on your home screen, ready to go. Step 2. Download ROM files to your iPhone. With ArcEmu installed, the next step is to get your hands on some ROM files. When you first open the app, you'll be greeted with a rather empty screen telling you that no ROMs are available and advising you to add your own. This might seem a bit daunting at first, but it's actually a straightforward process. You'll need to download the ROM files directly to your iPhone. If you're a purist and have the physical cartridges, you can extract the ROM files using a device like the GB operator by Epilogue. However, if you don't have the hardware to do this, there are other ways to obtain ROMs that shall remain nameless here. You know what I mean? Just be sure to save these files to a location on your iPhone where you can easily access them, like your Downloads folder. The ROM files you'll be looking for should be in the formats .gb, .gbc, .gba, or .zip. If you've already been dabbling with emulation on other devices, you might recognize these file types. They're the same ones used for emulating Game Boy, Game Boy Color, and Game Boy Advance games. Once you've downloaded your ROMs, you're ready to load them into the ArcEmu app. Step 3. Install the ROM files to your app. Now that you have your ROM files ready, it's time to import them into the ArcEmu app. Head over to the app on your iPhone and look for the plus button. This is your gateway to adding your ROMs to the emulator. Click the button, navigate to the location where you saved your ROMs, and select the files you want to play. Once selected, the ROMs will automatically be added to ArcEmu's home screen. The app neatly organizes them, making it easy to browse through your collection. You can play the games directly from this screen, remove them if you need to free up space, change the icon colors to match your aesthetic, and even switch between 8 or 4 D-pad directions before launching the game. It's a pretty slick setup for such a tiny device. Step 4. Open the ROMs on your Apple Watch. With the ROMs installed and ready to go on your iPhone, the next step is to get them running on your Apple Watch. Head over to your watch and launch the ArcEmu app. At first, you might notice that the ROMs aren't immediately available on the watch. Don't panic. This is normal. It just takes a few minutes for the app to pull the ROMs from your iPhone and recognize them on the Apple Watch. Once the app syncs, you should see your ROMs appear on the watch screen. Before you dive into gaming, take a moment to explore the settings. You can adjust the crown direction, which can be crucial for gameplay, tweak the volume, and even lower the FPS if you're using an older Apple Watch model to improve performance. Once everything is set to your liking, it's time to game. Step 5. play in the most awkward way possible. Let's be real, playing retro games on an Apple Watch isn't exactly the most ergonomic or comfortable experience. Your neck and eyes will likely start complaining after just a few minutes of staring down at that tiny screen, but there's something undeniably fun about the sheer novelty of it. Despite the small screen, the keys are surprisingly well placed, sitting just beneath the display. Game Boy Advance games in particular look pretty good on the watch, taking up a bit more screen space than the older 4:3 Game Boy titles. The controls for Start, Select, and Menu are all accessible around the screen, allowing you to save, load states, and quit back to the main menu to switch games without much hassle. On my Apple Watch Series 7, the gameplay was surprisingly smooth with no major performance issues. However, playing without the watch on your wrist can be a challenge. The Apple Watch tends to go to sleep or dim the screen if it thinks you're not actively using it, making it difficult to play unless the watch is securely on your wrist. This essentially makes one-handed gameplay the norm, but hey, if it means playing Pokemon on my wrist, I'm not complaining. Is it worth the effort? So, is emulating retro games on your Apple Watch worth the effort? If you're a hardcore retro gaming fan or someone who loves the idea of carrying your favorite games on your wrist, then absolutely. The experience may not be perfect, but it's a fun and unique way to relive the classics. It's not going to replace your iPhone or dedicated handheld for gaming, but it's a cool party trick and a great way to kill time when you're on the go. The process is relatively simple, especially if you're already familiar with emulation on other devices. The key is to manage your expectations. This isn't going to be the smoothest or most immersive gaming experience, but it's certainly one of the most novel. In the end, whether or not you decide to go down this rabbit hole is up to you, but if you do, you'll join a small but dedicated group of gamers who can proudly say they've played retro games on one of the smallest screens available. And really, isn't that what being a gamer is all about? Finding new ways to play the games we love, no matter how unconventional they may be? So go ahead, give it a shot, and who knows? You might just find yourself enjoying that awkward, neck-craning, one-handed gaming experience more than you expected. Enjoying our video? Don't forget to smash that like button and hit subscribe for more awesome videos.